Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins. Velkommen, brewing brethren.
Is that the Blickman greeting now?
Threw a little German in there for you.
Yes.
Oh, what's her name?
As you can hear, we have our...
Do you have a little German in you? No, but would you like some?
As you can hear, we have our fine sponsor, Mr. John Blickman, here in the studio live with us, and totally unplanned. I don't know, he was here doing. He was at More Beer doing some winemaking. Were you doing there?
Yes, we were doing a trial run of a kind of a training run on the new Wine Easy wine press.
Right? Yeah, you're doing all the wine equipment now, and you've got. We're doing the Progasm shows here, so. You've got the new 2-barrel Nano system for those that want to do like a 2-barrel and get started. And you got the 1-barrel still, right?
Yep, we've had the 1-barrel for a while, and just this last week came out with the 2-barrel
nice
brew pot, and here shortly we'll have the 2-barrel fermenter as well.
Oh, excellent.
So,
excellent.
What do you use for heating the 2-barrel system? Is it the same burner system, or you have a different one, or?
What we recommend for the 1-barrel really is, since it's predominantly used for commercial applications, is a commercial stock pot range.
Okay.
And those are anywhere from 90 to 120,000 BTU per hour, and those work very well. They carry all the fire ratings, UL ratings, all that.
You mean that Chinese jet burner that says it's a 250,000 BTU isn't really a 250,000 BTU?
Not exactly. I don't know where they come up with that.
They're measuring it. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to measure the BTU. You just put the propane tank on a scale,
right?
Weigh it, burn it for an hour,
see how much
weigh it
is
again,
burned,
and
right?
multiply by the lower heating value of the fuel, and
then,
that tells you.
And then you have efficiency of transfer and things like that. So you're not even getting all those BTUs, but at least you know how much the burner was consuming at the time.
Right.
Now, what about the 2-barrel? What's that fired with?
We in Indianapolis Beer Brewery they've been doing a lot of our testing for us in a commercial application, and they use the jet type burner that I know More Beer sells it, and quite a few other places, and that seems to work quite well for them. And you can use the traditional stock pot ranges. We've got a few breweries, commercial breweries that I've got our equipment, and they use that very successfully.
What are the dimensions of the 2-barrel pot?
It is essentially it is our 55-gallon pot, which is roughly 24 inches in diameter, and it's an extension that just slips right onto the top. So it makes it, the neat thing is if you really think you're only needing a 1-barrel system, you can quickly upgrade if you want to double your batch size. And it gives you the flexibility, too, to do smaller batches if you want. It also makes it real easy to clean the unit out. You don't need a man-way to get in and clean it out.
Sure, okay.
What does a man-way? Oh, no. All right. Well, wait a minute. I'm thinking, instead of doing our Progasm wrap-up, maybe we should do a Nano brewing equipment
That's probably a good idea.
show. You up for that, John?
I am up for about anything.
I think Nano equipment. Here we go.
All right. Well, let's do this. Let's First, let me talk about our fine sponsor, Blickman Engineering. Blickman with 2 N's. Go to blickmanengineering.com and check out all the fine gear they have there. And like JP likes to say, Blickman Engineering, innovating your brew day, which I think is a great slogan. I really do.
That is sassy.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's fantastic.
You know what would show appreciation is a few zeros on a rectangular piece of paper.
As long as there's no numeral.
With
So
a
a check made out for $0.
with an even number in front of it.
Roman.
Right. No, I think I think it's a great slogan, but I think it's an even better company with even better people and products. Literally, I'm so impressed every time. When we were in Bellevue, Washington for the conference, sitting with your group of people, I was just so impressed with how passionate they are, how intelligent they are. How fun-loving they are, and just a generally nice group of folks that really want to make, high-quality products that, and have a product that they can be proud to sell to customers and have the customers be successful and happy with it. You could just tell in their core that's what they're about.
Definitely.
It's and they took pride in working for Blickman versus just doing something for a living. They're doing something because they could feel good about it in the end result.
Right.
And that's the kind of sponsor Blickman Engineering is. So go check it out. Go to blickmanengineering.com, Blickman with 2 N's, and check out the products there and send a nice email to John Blickman and tell him how much you appreciate their paying for the show so you don't have to. All right, let's do this. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get into talking about how to outfit your Nano brewery. What kind of equipment, where you can get it, what you can source, how you can save some money, where you want to apply your limited funds to get yourself rolling, and how you can expand after that. All right, short break. Back after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Auto Sparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge. Where can you still find $7.95 nationwide shipping, a friendly, knowledgeable staff, and all of the stuff to brew for less? Homebrew Stuff. Isn't the Homebrew Stuff a sexual maneuver? Homebrew Stuff is the largest homebrew supplier in the Northwest and can be found in Garden City, Idaho, and online at homebrewstuff.com. Equipment and ingredients for brewing beer and wine, soda and liquors, books, instructional DVDs, beginner kits, and a great selection of grain and hops. Homebrew Stuff also has dozens of free videos online to help make brewing easier. Visit homebrewstuff.com now for the best prices with their match or beat guarantee. BN Army members can take 10% off their first order with the coupon code BNARMY. Kegs, regulators, faucets, towers, carboys, conicals, barrels, you name it. Get your homebrew stuff for less at homebrewstuff.com. Homebrew Stuff. Not a sexual maneuver. Just the best prices and great service on all the stuff you need. homebrewstuff.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters, this is Jamel Zainashev, and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking about the equipment, the Nano equipment. We've got one of the great equipment manufacturers right here, designers, inventors, manufacturers, Mr. John Blickman. And because he's here, and because we're talking about the programs, and because they've got a new 2-barrel brew equipment out on the market.
Out with it.
We thought it would be a good time to kind of get into the Nano equipment. You know, I think the difficult part for a lot of people is, where do I source this equipment? How do I find everything I need in order to open my Nano brewery to get started? And what's the grand cost going to be? And what's the upgrade strategy from that? If I start that, am I stuck there? Am I going to have to dump all that equipment and do something else? Now, John, before the break, you were talking about how the 55 gallon pot
55.
Has an extender, and that takes it up to 2 barrels.
That's right. It's a simple add-on. We had a lot of breweries that have been using our equipment for their nano breweries, and in fairly short order, a lot of them reached their capacity. They were brewing, every day. Most of them did start brewing every day, so a barrel a day. And some were brewing twice a day, and they were looking to increase their capacity, but didn't quite have the cash flow yet to go to a full system. And so we came up with this product that essentially just it's a cylinder that with a seal that slides right into the top of the 55-gallon pot.
Interesting.
And it's a quick add-on. It also makes it easier to clean. And if you do, some esoteric beer where you don't want 2 barrels of it, you can just use just the 55-gallon equipment for it. So it's a fairly low-cost way to double your brew house.
That's really neat.
Now, what about the mash tun? What are people using for that for a 2-barrel Nano?
Well, the mash tun, the 55-gallon pot that they had been using with our false bottom as the mash tun, can continue to be used as the mash tun. You just run a deeper mash bed.
What would be the depth on a grain bed like that?
The depth on that would typically be about 40 inches, 48 inches, so fairly deep. So you do have, you may lose a little bit of efficiency, or just have to run your mash a little bit slower so that you can draw all the through that deep of a mash bed. So there are a little bit of
adding rice hulls or something, increase permeability, perhaps.
Yeah, that would help as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there are always some compromises, when you do something like that. But the nice thing is it's a very quick way to add on extra capacity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it fairly easy to clean because it's you're really just cleaning two smaller pieces. You don't have the manway accesses or try to use CIP equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I imagine and one of the reasons we were talking about this during the break. One of the reasons that people look to do a Nano is they don't have a lot of money to invest.
Right.
They want to proof of concept. They want to get rolling with a tasting room that'll generate the maximum revenue per ounce off their beer. And what they can do to save money until they can build up more resources. You could probably start with one 55-gallon vessel and the false bottom. Do your mash, run your wort into another container, temporary food grade container, clean out the mash tun, and then use it to boil your wort as well. And, save yourself the cost there. And that gets you rolling. You could, get your proof of concept up pretty cheap that way. And then once you got money rolling in, you can go ahead and buy the extra kettle and go from there, and maybe even go to a 2-barrel kettle.
Yeah.
And,
a lot of the, with running any business, including my business, a lot of that is establishing a cash flow that you can go to a bank with, where they get a higher comfort factor that, okay, this is a viable business. They've got positive cash flows, and then you can move up to that next system if that's what you're intending to do.
Well, and just being able to show sales. It's like, look, we have 20 customers every Friday. We have 10 every Thursday. We sell X amount of beer. That's all the beer we can produce. If I could have $15,000, I could buy all this equipment. I could do this. I could add a few more, stools to my tasting area, and it's going to produce this much more beer. I'll be able to generate this much more revenue. They like seeing things like that. Like John's saying, we're doing our expansion. I was able to get a nice loan from Union Bank. Of course, I had to personally guarantee it, but I was able to get based on what we're doing now versus, the fact that we can't produce enough beer. I was able to get that loan because they look at our business now. Had the business not been existing and selling product and have good distribution, I wouldn't have been able to get the loan personally without that. So it's a combination of business success and being willing to personally guarantee it that made it possible.
Right. And there's a lot of balance too with, everybody's got a different tolerance for risk. And, so it's, you've got to decide what your risk tolerance is. And, if you're not real confident, you can start with a smaller system and you've got a lot less risk. You've got something that's fairly quickly resaleable. And I think a lot of it too is, when I started my business, I was thinking, I really love designing stuff. I love building stuff, but I really didn't know if I'd like the business side of it. The whole financial side of it, the accounting side of it, the marketing advertising side of it. And it turns out I really loved it. And, that worked out very well. But, sometimes you take a hobby, which for me was home brewing, and you turn it into a business, and, it may not be as fun as what it was. So, that's another way you can try to, just sample and see if this works for you. And, as you grow bigger, I know Darren at the Beer Brewery, he's really ultimately going to be looking at the Blickman equipment he's got as a great pilot system, or just to run some seasonal specials, as he goes into a bigger system. So,
yeah, I imagine if you were moving from that to even a 15-barrel system, 10, 15, 20-barrel system, still having a 2-barrel is useful for a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, I know one Nano brewery I've been to, Wits End Brewing in Denver. It has all Blickman equipment, and they have the 1-barrel system, I think, and then using 1-barrel conical fermenters. And he is able to wheel them from room to room. He fills them in the brewing room and then wheels them into a cold room for fermentation, and then is able to wheel those out into his bright tanks and so on.
Now, what about fermenters, John? What kind of fermenters do you have that'll support a 1 or 2 barrel Nano?
We've got our 1 barrel conicals, and we're just doing some field testing on our 2 barrel system that's doing quite well. So in a few months we'll have that to roll out, the 2 barrel conicals. And one of our first big commercial or big nanos was that's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Big
nano.
Was
like jumbo shrimp.
Yes. Was Cave Mountain Brewery out in Windham, New York, and they've got a it's pretty neat how they've got exactly figured out how many days they're going to keep it in their conicals, and they cycle them in right to a schedule, and then it goes into they drain it into 2 half-barrel kegs, which is their bright tank, serving tank, and tax tank. And then they've got a cold room that they bring those kegs in, carbonate them, and they know exactly how much time each one is going to spend in there. So they've really got it down to a science as to how many days a week they need to brew, to keep those fermenters always full.
Now, any plans of doing like a 4 barrel or a 6 barrel fermenter? I think people could actually buy like a 7 barrel jacketed fermenter, jacketed unitank, and could fill it with the 2 barrel brew plant.
Yes, you could do a couple of brews and fill it that way.
Like the bigger commercial breweries, they don't buy tanks necessarily matched to the size of the brew plant. The brew plant runs 24/7. Right. And it fills these bigger tanks because there's an economy in keeping the brew plant constantly running because it doesn't cool down, and you just keep that process going, and you it's much cheaper than buying a bigger brew plant. But if you can fill a 7 barrel fermenter, I mean you're up to pretty substantial pub size at that point. I mean there was the old 7 barrel brewery thing because it was the size of the Grundys back then, but
right.
Then you're talking some serious volume.
That's good.
A 7 barrel fermenter doesn't take up a whole lot of floor space. Yeah. You can still stay in a small building. If you've got a sea of smaller ones, you can maybe do something bigger as well. So I think that's a good expansion plan. If you can start filling 7 barrel fermenters off of.
That's a great idea. And that can be, you can even do some of that interim, where, okay, I can add on the larger fermenter, but I'll keep my same brew house. And, as demand grows, then, okay, I can upgrade my mash capability and add another fermenter in.
Yeah, they say if you're not using your brew plant, certain number of days a week, then your brew plant is too big. And
that's a good point.
So, a 2 barrel brew plant, you could probably do 3 batches in a day, at least.
Yeah.
And in a 24-hour period, and you can hire some other homebrewers to come in and work the overnight shift. You do 3 a day, you could do 21 a week. You could be making 42 barrels of beer a week. And I bet you could probably push that kettle and that mash tun, and probably get closer to 2.5 or 2 1/4 out of it, and you could be up to 50 barrels a week. 50 barrels a week, 50 weeks, you're talking a 2,500 barrel brewery.
Yeah,
that's more than we're doing at Heretic right now on a 30 barrel brew plant. So it's possible to do considerable volume. At that point, and especially if you're retailing it all through a tasting room, you should be profitable. You should be making some pretty good cash and allow you to expand at that point.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it requires a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, but
I think a lot of it too is planning. You need to have a long-term plan. You can't be thinking just a few months out. You've got to have a strategy. Where am I going to be next year, 5 years and in 10 years? What is my plan? Now, that's not to say that you're locked in and that's what you've got to do.
Right.
But you need to know where you're going so you don't end up stagnating or going, oh, now I'm screwed because I
overreached.
I overreached, or I totally missed an opportunity because I wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of that's having that plan of, I'm going to get to a 15-barrel brew house size and my market. And if you have that mindset, that's where I'm going, then you're going to be doing those things that you need to do now to get yourself there.
Right.
Whether it be, working with banks and, and just checking in with them, letting them know here's where we're at. Thinking about, okay, this is the kind of equipment that I'll need. This is the kind of physical space I'm going to need. Can I stay in my same building, or do I need to be looking for a bigger facility? All of those things.
If you end up putting a lot of infrastructure into your building, you need to make sure you're going to, utilize all that and get your money back out of it, or have an expansion plan that does that building. Our new building that we're moving into, we got 1/3 of the building, and one of the reasons we went to that building is because it's a smaller chunk to start with, but we have an option to take the next space next to us for in about a year or so, and then we have an option to buy the entire building. So we're able to expand, and then there's cookie cutter more of these buildings in the same area, same development. So we can go ahead and buy some other buildings, and so we should be able to stay there for quite a long time. And I think having that, if I'm going to put in a tasting room and make it a nice tasting room, I want to be able to use that thing until it's so worn down that I need to build another one.
Absolutely,
that's penny out of it.
That really is that planning, and it's you can't get in that mindset that, okay, then that's absolutely what I have to do, because things change, situations change, but you still have to have that long-term vision. Just freshen that vision up every 6 to 12 months on what you're going to do, and just make sure you're ready and prepared for it.
Well, that's one of the things I think. You need to be more of a business person. If you had, somebody was asking me, should I go to, what kind of education should I get? To open a brew, should I go to brewing school, or should I go to UC Davis or Siebel Institute or whatever? I said you should probably go to business school, and once you've been to business school, then consider going to brewing school. But if you had to choose between brewing school and business school, as an experienced home brewer, which would you choose, John?
Absolutely, the business school side.
Yeah. I think that's where everybody fails.
Yeah.
It's not in the brewing.
Yeah. As an engineer, when I was going through school, I got some great advice from my wife's, while we were dating then, her grandfather, to take accounting. And that was one of the, so I took accounting courses and economics courses, and they were extremely valuable.
That's excellent advice, yeah.
It's only, I think if you look at it as a home brewer, thinking about, making brewing your profession, if you're just going to be a brewer, then go to brewing school. But if you're going to open a brewery, then go to business school.
Yeah.
What are you going to? It comes down to the focus on what you want to do. Do you want to be in the mash, or do you want to be running the business?
Yes. There's a difference between being a technician and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And and that thing is not working in the business; it's working on the business.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do this. Let's take another short break, and when we come back, more great advice from the John and the John after this.
Hi, I'm Jamel Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew. When Michael Fairbrother started moonlighting, he had no idea how quickly his dream was going to grow. Having homebrewed for 15 years, Michael decided to go pro, but not with beer. While attending his homebrew club meetings, he saw ladies knocking their men out of the way to try his mead. Moonlight Meadery is now 2 years old and can produce 200,000 bottles a year. It's the first New Hampshire winery to ever distribute to California and Australia. In fact, you can find Moonlight Meadery meads in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, Vermont, and New Hampshire, and they ship direct to 17 states. They produce 56 different varieties of mead and are unlike anything you've ever seen on the market. Michael Fairbrother at Moonlight Meadery is a real success story that can make the BN Army proud. Visit Moonlight Meadery in Londonderry, New Hampshire, or online at moonlightmeadery.com.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
What does craft beer mean to you? Is it a delicious way to support your town's local brewer? Or perhaps it's the perfect beverage to pair with those delicious meals at your favorite restaurant and at home. Regardless of whether you're thinking of pints or pairings, pilsners or porters, craftbeer.com is the site where craft beer lovers come together to learn and share. Craftbeer.com is brought to you by the Brewers Association and celebrates the best of American craft beer and its brewers. Craftbeer.com is the best place to find craft beer events, recipes, great feature stories, the most up-to-date brewery listings, and resources for your next beer tasting or dinner, like style guidelines, pairing mats, and charts. Get the inside scoop on new beer releases and special events from today's craft beer insiders, and chime in to share your own knowledge, perfect pairings, road trips, recipes, and more. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Are you a hophead? Beer lovers of all stripes will love Brewers Publications' latest release, IPA, Brewing Techniques, Recipes, and the Evolution of India Pale Ale by Mitch Steele.
I wanted to write a book that presented an accurate review of the history of IPA and also provided current technical brewing tips and recipe information. India Pale Ale is a style I love because it has a rich, fascinating history, and today it provides brewers a showcase for all the great new hop varieties that are available. I'm so proud of this book, and I know you'll enjoy all the recipes and thoughts from so many of the world's great IPA brewers.
IPA is available now from Brewers Publications at brewerspublications.com and your favorite homebrew store. Order your copy today and take your hop-forward beers to the next level.
American Homebrewers Association and Brewers Association members receive early notice and special discounts to most Brewers Publication releases. Visit brewerspublications.com to learn more and to find a schedule of author appearances. IPA by Mitch Steele. Get yours today.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of our 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Our Williams Belgian Pale Extract is mashed with pure Belgian two-row malt and a small percentage of Belgian wheat malt for an authentic Belgian character you just can't get from other extracts. Or check out our unique fermenters, 2.5-gallon kegs, paintball tank-based draft beer equipment, bottling aids, and much more. We even have our own line of precision hydrometers. Go to WilliamsBrewing.com to browse our vast selection. That's WilliamsBrewing.com. Orders placed by 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking setting up your Nano and equipment and just all the various things. And, I haven't been that much of a proponent of the Nano thing because I always felt like, well, if you're going to do it, go big, just dive in and do it and be successful because, it's going to be impossible to make enough money to really make the Nano pay off. And I think I was looking at, when people are using, top tier and they've got the 20-gallon pot and they're making, a half barrel at a time. It's kind of like, half barrel, that's really tricky. You could do it.
That'd be a ton of work.
But now that we're talking 1 barrel, 2 barrel, now, and the more we talk about it, if you could retail across a bar top, your own little tasting room, if you could sell 1,000 barrels a year, it's not that difficult. With a 2-barrel system, it's not that difficult to make 1,000 barrels. That's 500 batches. 500. That's, 2 a day. And you could hire somebody, to do that wants to learn the business and all that. You could do that yourself. But, that's not that difficult to do 2 a day. You could make over 1,000 barrels in a year. 1,000 barrels retailed at, $5 a pint. In our area here, it's $6-7 a pint. But, you could be discounted $4 a pint. Mm-hmm. You could make some pretty good money at that. That's enough where you could actually pay yourself a decent wage. You can actually, and you'll have a small place where you don't need that big a fancy a space. And that I think you could make a living at.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that will get the attention of a bank.
Yeah,
they're going to see, excellent margins on a business that's got an established sales base, a business that's been in operation for a while, and then they're not as afraid. And you're going to get a better interest rates and all that. If but if you're just squeaking by, they're going to be fairly reluctant.
Right. But we went through the numbers, and we're like, you could produce 2,500 barrels on the 2-barrel.
Right.
You could do that. If you're doing that in a year, you're making some good cash. You're closing in on $1 million in gross receipts at that point. And out of that $1 million, you gotta have some profit out of that.
$1 million,
right? And and even at, like I said, if you could do 500 or 800 barrels across a bar counter, that's kind of considered the break even for a lot of brew pubs. Is 800 barrels, 1,000 barrels. That's where they start to be profitable. And that's with, a much bigger infrastructure. If you had a small tasting room, you're not out a lot of money on the equipment. That I think you could really make a go of that.
Yeah, well, John, how much money are we talking to set up a nano brewery? I mean, ballpark.
The typical system that we've been selling is a 55-gallon mash hot liquor tank boil kettle. We've got the Therminator chiller. That's a good coupling with that. Mm-hmm. We don't sell the burners. We have our top tier burners, but they're, in my opinion, a little undersized for the 55-gallon. Because you end up just waiting a lot of time. So we recommend a commercial stock pot range. Mm-hmm. We don't sell those. We just don't add any value to it. But they're very commercially available. Mm-hmm. American Range makes a nice product. And so we'll sell those the 3 vessels and chillers, beer guns if they want to bottle fill. Mm-hmm. And then as far as fermenters, it's pretty common to see about 6 of the 1-barrel conical fermenters sold. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that you just need to figure out, okay, how long is it going to be in the fermenter? How often am I going to brew? And you can do the math there and determine how many of those you need just to keep them rolling. Mm-hmm. And a setup like that for that equipment is going to be $12,000 to $15,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whereas a microbrewery size system,
right?
Say 7-barrel.
7-barrel plant. You're looking. It depends if you go with the basic, what I call the stainless steel equivalent of
a 2-vessel
bucket,
kind of system,
where it's just a vessel with heating. You could be in it once you add that, if you're going 6 fermenters, you need the plate chiller, you need,
right.
all that, and then just getting the thing, hooked up to gas and all that. When you go with a smaller burner, you can hook that up to gas. You don't need a special meter. Okay. I mean, I'm out like $15,000 putting a new meter in to support, a bigger boiler. $15,000 you can buy the whole Nano thing. I'm buying I'm buying a gas meter from PG&E, just so they could charge me the correct amount. I'm paying $15,000. So 7-barrel brew plant, you're in the range of 150, 250, depending on how technologically advanced you want it. If you get up to 30-barrel brew plant, with all the accompanying bells and whistles for like a 4-vessel, you're closing in $400,000, and then everything else you need for the plant. I'm $1 million into this thing.
Yeah.
Well, we see pretty commonly for fermentation, since the vessels are, in the grand scheme of things, they're still fairly small. They can be cooled by atmospheric temperature. So what a lot of these nanos have been doing is
save yourself a lot there.
Yeah, they just make a room that has got heavily insulated walls, and they'll use air conditioning units to actually cool it. And that not only works great for the fermentation, but you can segment that off, and then you can move your kegs there that become your conditioning tanks and tax determination tanks.
Right.
So that's fairly inexpensive, and and then if your plan is after 2 years or whatever, I'm going to move up to a 3 or a 5 or 7 barrel system, then that becomes a great room for storing the rest of your product.
Right.
So it's a lot of that, forethought planning, so that you're not building something that you aren't going to need in the future. So that's quite a bit less expensive than the glycol jacketing, because that's just not going to be big enough when you go up to a larger system if you're going to do beers where you need that.
Well, and you could go up to 7-barrel fermenters. Like I was saying, 7 or 8s,
right?
And do multi batches to fill them, and then
and really that's something you would do with almost any size brewery anyway.
Right.
I
would do that before replacing the brew plant.
Yeah.
Size those up, and something like that. I imagine you could probably recirculate. Just you could use the same cold room and just pump. Mix up some glycol and water and use the sump pump and just pump it through there. It's probably good enough to chill a 7-barrel. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't, depend if you're like in
do it yourself mode.
You're down in Panama brewing. It's probably a little warm for that, but or if you're in the wilds of the desert and it gets really hot in your building. But if you're in a more moderate temperature, I bet you could chill a 7-barrel or something like that. I'd be surprised if that wouldn't work.
True.
As you're talking about building multiple batches into the 7, I'm also finding that one of the advantages that some of the smaller nanos have is, and I know Darren did this, and I know the Cave Mountain Brewery they have, in fact, Cave Mountain has 12 different beers on tap at one time, and I know Darren's probably got 8 to 10. And he can change those very quickly. So it's always something new and fresh for when the customers come back in. What have you dreamt up this time? And they're always changing things out. So whereas if you're a small entity but you've got a tremendous amount of one style of beer, you got to kind of figure out too. Okay, when's that beer going to get past its prime and
you have to plan it out, but there comes a point where you've got your flagship and everybody wants that beer, and they come in and they want it day in and day out, and they'll try other stuff and they enjoy that, but they want to make sure after they've tried a pint of that, they want their regular beer and they want multiple pints of it.
That's right.
And you got to have that on hand, and it's just you have to figure out your timing. But
that's when to bring on that bigger
fermenter, and
bigger fermenter for that once you've established that.
The thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the cost between, 1 barrel and 2 barrel. A 2 barrel isn't going to be double the cost of a 1 barrel. Right. I'm buying 120 barrel fermenters. The cost between the 120 barrel fermenters versus the 30 barrel fermenters that we bought is 50% more than
for
the 30 barrel. For 4 times the size, I'm paying 50% more. I'm getting 200% the volume. I'm paying 50% cost.
Yeah.
It has something to do with the square of the diameter.
Right, exactly.
And the amount of steel.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so, when you're looking at these bigger fermenters, you can, you end up adding one of those. It's like, wow, rather than buying, a lot of smaller fermenters, and you could do that. And I think it's good to have, variety and multiple fermenters, and especially when you're starting out, really, really good idea. But I think the point being that, even with a small brew plant, you can produce a substantial amount of beer if you work it right, and in the same space. And they'll be able to really kind of crank up the production and be profitable, with the same, Blickman, brew plant.
That's a good point. Yeah, you don't want to run out of your flagship.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, 12 to 15 on the equipment, give yourself some extra. If you had 20, I think you probably could get this thing open and running.
That's, home equity loan kind of money, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's,
and there's always those little incidentals that add up, piping and stands for this and,
stools for the bar and, a few months of rent. You got to make sure you have that.
Sure. Yeah, while you're getting, before you're actually even producing anything.
Yeah. Your brewer's bond, that's going to be $1,000.
What's that?
You don't remember, like show number 3. No.
3. Well.
No, the brewer's bond. So TTB, the federal government, they're going to want you to pay, give them some money to hold on to make sure you're going to pay your taxes.
Oh, okay.
And,
it's all about the taxes, brother.
Yeah, and so you got to write them a check for $1,000.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know that you ever get that check back. In theory, I suppose you could get it back, but in reality, you just keep writing them another check to strengthen your bond. Once you get past like 1,500 barrels, you need to write them another check, a strengthening bond.
So after a while, you got a pretty good bond going to the federal government.
Oh yeah. And hopefully it's not handcuffs.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this. Let's take our third and final break. What do you say, JP? And then we'll wrap this up with some questions from the chat and I don't know, whatever else. Okay, back after this.
BN Army, HopTech has a great discount waiting for you. Do you often find it difficult to find specific specialty ingredients for your home brew recipes? Well, listen to this. HopTech stocks 59 different grains to choose from, 39 varieties of pellet hops, and 8 kinds of whole leaf hops. And HopTech not only carries Y yeast and White Labs yeast for you, but also Fermentus, 04, 5, 6, 23, 33, and T58 Belgian yeast, plus Cooper's, Nottingham, and Windsor yeasts. Got your recipe ready to go? Pick up some great brew gear like new long and short sleeved shirts, games, and more. HopTech's new website is being updated every day with new items. If you don't see it, call the shop. They're open 6 days a week. BN Army and AHA members get a 10% discount, and active military personnel get 15% off. Visit HopTech.com today for great selection, great service, and a great discount. HopTech.com.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f***
knock off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
My father, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acids.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious, Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf Shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit AustinHomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of Brew Vent Yeast Fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit AustinHomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, AustinHomebrew.com. A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeast, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. Whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew strong.
All right, we're back, enjoying a rare opportunity to be with Mr. John Blickman here live in the studio, and when I see John Blickman, my heart just fills with romance.
I'm not sure I know what to think about that.
Well, and if you're thinking about romance and love, I'll tell you.
Go to our other fine sponsor.
Yeah, other fine sponsor, adamandeve.com. You can go there, and if for a limited time, if you use the offer code Jamil, Jamil, that's right, my name is an offer code on adamandeve.com. My wife thinks that's very interesting. You get 50% off just about any one item. They'll also give you actually get to choose 3 free adult DVDs from a wide variety of categories, such as
extract, all grain,
milk, late hopping, anal, amateur, Asian, big breasts, big butts, bisexual, chunky, co-eds, fetish, gay, interactive, POV, lesbian, MILFs, etc. And you get the one item, 50% off. You get the 3 free DVDs, and you're going to get yourself free shipping and a free mystery gift. So you go there, you buy yourself some adult toy or lube or whatever you want, and you get all that stuff for free by using the offer code Jamil, Jamil, and you can even shop with your mobile phone. I know, John, you're away from your computer. You can whip out your mobile phone, and you go to adamandeve.com, and you can get yourself all sorts of
travel-sized,
lovely battery-operated devices. No problem. You get 50% off. And the free shipping and the free DVDs.
And the spanking paddle
mystery
doubles as a mash paddle.
The mash spanking paddle, yes. So check them out. AdamandEve.com. All right, so we're talking about equipment, wrapping up our show here. JP, you got any questions in the chat? I bet you there's like 1,000 of them.
Well, there's not quite that many, but
we only have 2 listeners.
There's one. No,
so 50% response. All right.
Let's see about your Nano. This is all homebrew stuff. Here we go. From I'll give you one guess as to who this question's from.
Spider Wrangler.
There you go,
buddy.
So it seems that JZ has changed.
He owes me a Galaxy brewed beer.
I don't know what that means.
Brewed beer. I sent him some hops.
Okay. All right.
He owes me a beer.
So it seems that Jay-Z has changed his mind on Nanos, at least with across-the-bar sales to bolster the numbers.
I think so.
Does he still have the same opinion for trying to do keg sales as a Nano?
Yeah, keg sales going to suck. You're just not going to make enough. Even at 2,500 barrels, I think you'd be screwed. I think that's very tough, very tough. And unless you're going to bottle. If you sold it all in bottles, then you can make it work. But if you're going to do it in draft to retail locations, be prepared to just muddle by, I think, for a period of time. You could do the proof of concept thing, but you either need to get bigger, fairly quick, or you need to do more retail sales across your own tasting room, or you need to sell in bottles.
Most of the guys that I've talked to that are starting up are doing across-the-counter sales or a mix.
Yeah, but bottles will do it. You get yourself a beer gun, bottle stuff up. I know a couple of commercial breweries, and one that's at 15 barrels that does a 15-barrel brew plant, and they brew into 30-barrel fermenters, and they bottle everything with a Blickman beer gun. And they sell on Beer Jobber and everything else. And now it takes more work than an automated, $300,000 bottling line, but it gets you done.
Do they all look like Popeye?
yeah. Well, I tell you, I made up a 4-gang Blickman bottling device, and JP was helping with the bottling of the Worry. And the one thing I was thinking is I should remove some of these springs or cut some of these springs down. I was in a hurry. I had to have it ready the next morning. And I'll tell you, 4 of those springs by the end, Chris, our head brewer, and I were doing the working the beer guns, and by the end, my hands were just cramping up. Seriously,
your hands hadn't cramped that much since 7th grade, huh?
Right. Yeah. Well, since second year of marriage. No. It was just 4 of those springs way too much. So, word of advice: just trim the springs down or something if you're gonna gang four beer guns together. But it worked really well. I was thinking of I should have done 6, and we were going to do 2 of those. I drilled out holes on the on a wooden sawhorse. Yeah, I just picked a wooden sawhorse down at Home Depot. I got a hole saw that was like the same size as the bottles, and just bore it out like a 1/2 inch deep. And so we just set the bottles in there, and then the beer guns would just kind of tilt in, fill them all, pull them out, and then these guys would grab the bottles and cork them and cage them.
Nice.
Worked quite well. We did. We did nearly.
See, you make these awesome products.
We did
John.
nearly 5,000 bottles in. It was about 8 hours or so, 8 to 10 hours.
I'll be danged.
Holy
when
crap.
I
That was
concepted
with four beer guns.
The beer gun at the beginning with, I'm in the back of my mind thinking, I really don't think this is going to work. But what the hell? I got a lathe and a milling machine. I'm going to give this a try.
Yep.
And my first reaction was, damn, that actually worked.
yeah, it worked. I mean, we're bottling relatively still beer. We carbonate. A lot of breweries do this. We'll carbonate. You mix your beer with your priming sugar and your bottling yeast. But the first thing you do is we carbonate it to a certain level. We carbonate it to, I think, like 1.5 to 2 volumes. And then we knew exactly, because we can measure that with we have a measuring device. We can measure their carbonation level. We're totally getting off the subject. And then we pitch our yeast and our sugar, because we know exactly how much it's going to take from that point to get to the level we want. So we get bottle conditioning, but we get a very precise, a very precise measure of what CO2 is going to be in there. And because one of the problems if you don't carbonate it ahead of time is you don't know how much is in there. A lot of breweries have trouble with that. So a lot of breweries, that's how they do it. So we did that. So it didn't really require the full power of the beer gun, but it allowed us to purge the bottles with CO2 and then, fill them all. And, again, 5,000 bottles.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick with 4 beer guns.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, we'll do
I'm
it
almost
again.
tearing up here.
We got a sour coming up, because they won't run the sours through the
regular
bottling line. So we'll do it with beer guns again.
But
I'll
come out.
get the spring stuff. Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea. I'll have to start with those little spring-loaded hand things.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'll cut the springs for the next time. I think I'll put 4 more beer guns together.
Yeah, that for a sour, that'd be definitely worth coming out.
Of course, everyone's like, so did Blickman give you these beer guns? I'm like, no, I had to buy them retail. I bought them from Northern Brewer.
I'm just supporting the retailers.
Yeah,
just trying to grow the hobby.
Yeah. I bought 4 beer guns from Northern Brewer.
That and the fact that Jamel never asked.
Of course, I'd feel wrong asking. That's the only problem.
Shit, I need everything I can get. What do you think of that? I'll ask for you, Jamel.
All right. I felt like
we ever answer that question?
I'm sure we did. All right. So what's the next question? Any other question? That's it. All right. Shall we wrap this up? One thing I wanted to ask that I didn't get to was, what's the lead time on getting this Nano equipment? If I wanted to start my Nano, how long do I need to plan to get like a 2-barrel brew plant or a 1-barrel brew plant and fermenters?
The 3 vessels and the 6 fermenters from you.
Generally, we have it shipped out within 2 or 3 days of receipt of order.
Okay. And
so
then,
these, again, these are mass-produced product. Because we're really, our business is structured around the homebrew market that is a lot higher volume as far as quantity. And and these products are right along with that. So
now, do they order this direct from you or from any of the retailers that like Northern Brewer, Now More Beer? They carry your full lineup. How do they get?
We're always a big supporter of the local homebrew supply stores. Mm-hmm. For commercial entities, we have an agreement that we can sell direct.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if it's always good to support those local stores.
Okay.
They've really done a great job growing the hobby,
Right.
which in most cases is how a lot of the commercial breweries got their start. So I'm always a big
You'll sell
proponent
through
of
them as well.
Yeah.
So, well, and that's a good thing. You can get a relationship with your homebrew shop, and you're going to need a lot of other things.
That's right.
You're going to need a lot of other products, and maybe you can make, instead of trying to go direct to the high volume, like I buy malt, like 10,000 pounds at a time. If you just need a couple of 100 pounds, you might be better to go to your retailer and just say, hey, look, I'm starting this commercial venture.
Let's start a relationship.
Let's start a relationship. Give me a discount. When you come in, you can have free pints. Plus, I'll send people back your way. Maybe and I need to buy this this Blickman equipment. You can probably build, and it goes back to that whole business thing.
Yeah.
It's about building business is about relationships, and understanding that it's a business. And I think the more you can build relationships, the better off you're going to be in this business.
You can be penny wise and pound foolish.
Yes, I like to pound foolish. Oh yeah. I thought you were talking to the stripper down there. Martinez got me all messed up. All right. Well, that's it. Another fine show, then, I think. Thank you very much, Mr. John Blickman, for sitting in with us. And all you listeners, I suggest you go to BlickmanEngineering.com, Blickman with 2 N's. Go out and check it out. Lots of great equipment there. Lots of stuff to innovate your brew day, whether you be commercial or home brewer. Lots of great stuff. I highly suggest getting yourself a top-tier system with a tower of power.
Definitely.
I think that's just the way to go.
It's a sweet system.
It's sweet. You get it from just about any local retailer is going to be able to get that for you. So check that out, BlickmanEngineering.com. While you're at it, send John a nice email telling him how much you appreciate that he's paid for this show so you didn't have to. And if you enjoy the Brewing Network, check out the Brewing Network store. Lots of goodies there. You can sign up for Brew Your Own magazine. It's a great sponsor as well. Click on that, sign up. When you do, half of your subscription price, that's easy for you to say, goes back to the Brewing Network. I do a style profile column for the last 4 years there. John writes for him. We get a lot of good stuff out of Brew Your Own, and you get a great magazine. It also supports the Brewing Network, so check all that out as well. Until then, brew strong.
Brew strong, everybody.